My posture's not great, and I think that's true for a whole lot of people. So today we have personal trainers Ryan Wood and Tyler Pratt from Enfuse Fitness in Connecticut. Everybody's sitting with proper posture. But while we have you here, you have a couple tips because we're in that lull right now between Thanksgiving and Christmas where I'm off the bandwagon officially. I'm done. I haven't done exercise in a while. I'm eating poorly. What can people do before big meals or just in this season, you know, before we hit the holidays?
Gain as much weight during December as humanly possible, and then take it off in January.
I wouldn't follow that advice.
I'm just joking.
Okay, good.
No, so yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of tips that that we do that are really basic. First is eating an apple, cutting it up, putting some cinnamon on it, 30 minutes before a meal with a glass of water, can actually fill your body with fiber, pectin, and help reduce the amount that you eat. Well, it should.
It should. It'll make you feel full sooner, whether you choose to use that as your stopping point or not. Who's to know?
It can help tremendously, though.
One of the things that I also work on with my clients that's important is having your protein first. Making sure that before you're indulging in the stuffings and the potatoes and all that stuff, if say you're having turkey or ham or something like that, have your portion of that prior to having that stuff, which will obviously satiate your hunger a touch. And drinking water. I mean, I know that sounds cliche and you hear it all the time, but making sure that you're adequately hydrated prior to going into your meal will also help lower that appetite a little bit.
And that's great all day long too, because if you're filled up with water, maybe you won't want that late night snack before you go to bed too.
The other thing that can help, Seth, is drinking a warm glass of water with your meal with a little apple cider vinegar. Okay, because it can reduce bloating, all right, and help you actually digest what you're eating. So it's a lot more satisfying that way as well, and you won't get that after dinner cramping that a lot of people experience or bloating that they get from the inability to digest what they're eating.
Now let's move on and let's move forward to posture, because it's one of those things. I noticed it sitting at the dinner table, this time of year, I'm all slouched or I'm forward. First off, what's proper posture and why is it so important that we have it?
Well, go ahead, Ty, you can.
Well, making sure that because once something gets out of line, your body is one big chain. So if your shoulders are out of place, it's going to affect your back. If your hips are out of place, it could affect your ankles. So making sure that at all times you're pulling your chest back. And a simple exercise, even when you're on the show or doing something like this, if you sit here for 5 minutes and pull your chest up and tighten your abs and sit here just like this, within 5 minutes your back will be on fire if you have poor posture, if you're not used to firing up your back muscles up here. So just the simplest things when it comes to posture can go a long way.
So you can almost work out at your desk in a way. I know working out, we're using that loosely, but you can work out at your desk by just trying to maintain good posture.
Yes, and one of the things that we see in our field a great deal is people on their cell phones doing this all the time. So they have that forward tilt in their head, which can create a number of neck spasms, headaches, those types of things. So if you're laying in bed, taking your chin, and then driving it into your pillow has a profound effect. For every action there has to be an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're spending all your time doing this, you need to spend some time driving it back and helping work the backside.
You also have this thing, the posture police.
Well, in our family, we slap each other if we're slouching. We call ourselves slouch potatoes if we're sitting like this. So, come up and I'll just give Ty like that,
And once again, we don't want people
See
to
that?
be...
That was aggressive, wasn't it?
We don't want that to happen on Mass Appeal. We don't want anybody at home doing that. But you could say that. You could say, hey, posture police, something like that.
We have little badges. We give those to the little kids in the studio.
It's important. You can make your own, too. Now, lastly, what are some exercises or stretches that we could do if we wanted to help our posture, to make that reaction? Because we're acting so much like this. How can we react so that we're...
You can gently just interlace your fingers and don't pull on your head, but just open up your arms, put them behind your head like this, and drive your elbows backwards and down. Just hold that position statically for 30 to 45 seconds. That can help reinforce opening up the pecs if you don't have access to equipment or a doorway. A gentle pec stretch inside of a doorway, making sure your shoulders back and down, opening your chest up like this is very good. Opening up the chest in general is probably one of the most important postural exercises that you can do.
And there's so many people out there who have a job where they're sitting at a desk a lot, they're hunched over their keyboard, so getting up and moving around is so important.
Right, and you see, it's interesting because you see people who have back problems that go like this, and they'll try to stretch themselves out, where all they're doing is reinforcing that bad movement as opposed to coming back, like Ryan said, trying to pinch your shoulder blades together. It's like, somebody who has neck problems from doing this, they'll grab their head and pull it down.
You're reinforcing the bad behavior that you've been doing.
It feels good for a second, but really what you're doing is you're reinforcing that. So it's important to make sure that you're doing the yin to the yang.
So we have this one, and then I imagine you can go back and do the similar thing?
Yep. And then, like Ryan said, a doorway. Everyone's got doorways everywhere. So, I mean, just putting your hands up, making sure that your shoulders are back and down, and then trying to pinch your shoulder blades together, stretching out your pecs.
But I think the most important thing is be aware, and I just realized it right now. I'm sitting a little hunched over. But if we just be aware and we engage our chest and our abs when we're sitting, even for as little as 5 minutes a day, it can
You'll notice it. I mean, it's profound when you actually sit there and do it and you hold it, and you hold it for 5 minutes. Even somebody who practices it on a regular basis, I can still feel it when you do it. It's important.
All right, well, gentlemen, let's get up. Posture position. Posture police are in effect. And coming up, originating